Did you know that even though there are tens of thousands of words in the English language, you really only need about 3,000 of them to say anything you need to say? I'm teaching 3,000 words in 3,000 days. Stick with me and you'll get a new word every day. Relative. Relative has a couple of meanings. It can mean your family. It can also mean the relationship between, that's why I have this picture here. It's a relationship between these different bodies. So relation, relationship, all of these are words that are similar to and part of the family of relative. Some synonyms are cousin. My cousin is my uncle or aunt's child. They're my cousin. Relation, those are nouns. Relative is also a noun. Relative as an adjective could mean comparative, comparable, or almost. We would say relative to, relevant, and applicable, pertinent. So relative can be a family connection. My closest relative lives in another country, so we only see each other during holidays. So this means the family member, a close relative, or you have a distant relative. So my close relatives, most of them live in Utah. My closest relatives are the ones who live with me in my own home. My distant relatives live all over the place, but most of them, I think, probably also live in Utah. The comparative meaning is the hospital is in a state of relative calm after last night's emergency cases. Here, it's being compared to something else. So right now things are calmer, but it's highlighting that it's not completely calm, and other times it's a lot more full of energy. We could talk about the relative importance or relative safety. Relative safety doesn't mean that you're completely safe. It just means that you're safer than at other times, or safer. I had an interesting conversation about 15 years ago with a student who was from Baghdad. I live in a city that I would not call safe. There are often murders, maybe even once a week. There's a lot of drugs, there's a lot of police activity in the city that I live in. And the schools in my city are not known to be the best schools in the state that I live in. But when I was talking to my student who was from Baghdad, he said, "It's so safe here. My son is not being killed in the street," like had happened during the war in Baghdad. So he was talking about the relative safety of living in the United States. You would say a lot of places in the world are not as safe as living in the United States. So there is relative safety here, even though most of the time I would think that it's not very safe to be in my neighborhood. It's relative safety. There's an abstract use of relative. Ideas of right and wrong are often relative, depending on culture and context. So often the idea of right and wrong is not absolute. It's according to the situation or your perspective. It's subjective. So here, relative could mean subjective. Relative can also have a scientific usage. For example, the relative humidity in the room affects how comfortable patients feel. So this is measured in relation to another quantity, in this case, temperature, relative humidity, relative speed, relative position. Those are things that are measured against another thing that is often moving. The doctor who treated me was kind. The word who is a relative pronoun. So this is a grammatical use. The doctor who treated me was kind. You can take this out and just say, the doctor was kind. Who treated me is called a relative clause. And we put it in there to give a little bit of definition. The doctor, this one, as opposed to this other one. The doctor who treated me was kind. So that's called a relative clause. Who is a relative pronoun because it's relating back to this doctor and giving more information. The opposite of relative would be maybe a stranger, someone not related. The noun is relative. The verb is relate. The adjective is relative, but now it has a different meaning from the noun. Relative, you could say he's a relative stranger. That means he's almost a stranger. He's a relative stranger. I've seen him once. The adverb is relatively, relatively.
I really hope that you enjoyed this word. Use it 5 times today, write it down, commit it to memory, and I'll see you in the next lesson.